Hey out there, survivors. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Survive Interviews. Today is a big day for me. This is a person that I've wanted to chat to for at least a decade. It's pretty much bang on a decade. Today, I am just joyous to be joined by the amazing Rob Wiethoff, who played John Marston in Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Man, Paddy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is awesome. I've been watching the show. It's great, man. It's really great. So thank you.
We've been blessed and lucky to have some amazing outlaws on already. I mean, from Steve through Kylie and Mick. You know, Mick's one was, I loved it. Mick is just a character, a real Irish character.
Yeah, oh my goodness. He is such a cool guy. And obviously Kylie and Steve as well.
Yeah.
You know, we all had so much fun together.
I can only imagine. I mean, you guys, I've heard it from one or two of the other gang, but like from yourself as well, I imagine like you really formed an actual outlaws group, like in reality, not just in the game.
Yeah, really kind of did. I mean, it's unfortunate that we haven't been able to see each other recently in person, but we've kept together in touch, I guess, over Zoom chats. We do them pretty frequently, I guess. And it's always great. I mean, these are my friends.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that so much.
Yeah, it's really great. We all got to experience such a cool thing together, and everyone appreciates it. Everyone's just really enjoying everything that's going on. It's really a good thing, and we're all real happy about it. It's cool.
I mean, we were chatting very briefly before we came on, and one of the things you said that struck a chord with me is like that you said, you know, you're so fortunate, as you said, and like from where I'm standing or sitting, I suppose, like you embody one of the, like, a new icon in video game history. You know what I mean? Like, as much as Sonic the Hedgehog and Lara Croft, you know, John Marston is right up there with them. That's got to be, as you say, it's pretty fortunate.
Man, I tell you what, I don't know how to really express. I don't know how, you know, people will say, how do I get into this? How do I do this? And I think, I don't know. I wish I knew, because I would love for you to have the experience that I had. Anyone. I would love for people to be able to do what I did. I lucked into it, and I appreciate you saying what you said about it. But it's just been wild, and it just has continued. I mean, it's gone, like you said, for a decade.
A decade,
now.
Yeah.
I've been just enjoying every bit of it. And I can't say enough how cool it is to experience working, but really loving the work.
Yeah.
And feeling like you're not working. Most people don't have that as a reality. You say that, people say, yeah, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, okay. But in this case, I have experienced that, and it's fantastic.
It's amazing, man. It's like, but it's funny because Mick said a very similar thing, that he was like, if somebody's asking me how they get into this gig, like how they get a video game acting and everything, he's like, he was like, all I did was act. Like, he was like, I can't tell you the route or the road to go on. Just do what you do and do it well, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, right place at the right time. I don't know. It's just I will say that Rockstar, not only do they cast really well, and I'm not speaking about this, I'm speaking for everyone else, but they do cast really well, and then they know how to work with people.
That's the important thing, yeah.
My goodness, and especially Rod Edge, our director, everyone loves him, and you can't help but love him. He's fantastic. And so not only him though, but the entire crew, everyone at Rockstar, they work together really well. They're all very supportive of all of the cast and all of each other. I mean, it's just a really inspiring, I've never seen that anywhere else, like the way that I saw it there, you know, and I've been on a lot of different sets. And I've been, I've had a lot of different, as an actor, you have a lot of different jobs in your life. Because you have to pay for the stuff in between.
Yep.
But I just have never been somewhere for work and left there a better person because of the people I was surrounded by.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I will say, right, I come from an indie film background. Like, I go out and I make movies with my friends. That's what I do when the world isn't shut down. But like that, I that's very much what I feel like on set as well. It's why actually lockdown's been so hard for a lot of people, of course. But like, yeah, for me, it's like, that was an outlet, like, was going to work and hanging out with my mates, and it didn't matter whether you were on the hardest day of the shoot or the best day of the shoot, you loved every second of it. And it sounds like it was a very similar experience, like, but on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, well, yes, I guess yes and no. I mean, we couldn't talk about what we were doing.
Yeah.
So that, but that's works, That's the way it should be. It works. And so it's too bad if you're one of the lucky people who can't talk about it. So
I remember Steve telling me that he was like, oh, I'm on this cable show up in Vancouver and stuff, and he wasn't at all. He was just lying to everyone, obviously, because he had to.
Steve, oh my goodness, he would tell me some of the things that he told people, and I thought, what? You didn't have to say any of that, man. Now you really got to keep talking about this because you just told this whole crazy thing that's not real. Oh, I love it.
That's the actor in him, though. He just wants to keep acting and like pretending.
Well, yeah. And, I guess for me, the situation I was in, I left. I had a job at a company called Granger, and it was great. I enjoyed it, and it provided benefits. I'm a married man with kids now. I can't be bartending anymore. I mean, not that people can't do that. Just for me, that wasn't the route that I wanted to take. I needed something consistent income-wise, and know that I'm not just letting myself be blown around by the wind like I did for my whole life up until that point, getting married and having kids. But I left that job because of Red Dead Redemption 2. And then I started working for my brother-in-law doing construction. Yeah. And I think that, like, even if I told those guys what I was doing, they wouldn't have any idea or care. So
that's amazing.
I was like, yeah, I got to go out of town again. They're like, what for? I'm like, New York. Damn, when's that done? I don't know. And that was about it. I mean, there was not really a lot to...
There was no real, like, big, deep secrecy going on. It was just like...
You're like, get out, then. Get out of here. Whatever, this is all right. I don't have to tell people I'm in Vancouver.
On a cable show, yeah.
I love it, yeah.
But, like, I mean... Did you have a sense, like, at all when this project came along that, like, it was going to be what it's become in the 10 years since? Or was it just a gig?
Well, I mean, it was a wild deal for me because I knew what I knew from Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare. I knew that experience, obviously. And then I walked in to the same place to start Red Dead Redemption 2. Eventually we moved to a different location, but at the beginning it was the same thing. And I saw a whole lot of familiar faces and was real excited to be back. And I also met Roger.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, you're the guy, you're the playable character. And it'd be interesting to watch, what his workload looked like and, what that looks like.
Yeah.
I never got to see someone else do it.
Yeah, so yeah. That's kind of fascinating. Like, yeah, kind of like, if it was a movie, like in the first movie, you're the lead, and now it's the second movie and he's the lead. And it's like you're a supporting character watching. That's really cool. It's an outlook I would never have thought of.
Yeah. I mean, it was, so it was really cool. Not only was I blown away by him, I mean, he's trained. He's really talented.
He's great.
He was comfortable right off the bat. I mean, just stepped right into it, and it was believable. And I thought, this is awesome. This guy. And so, and then I also knew I don't have nearly the workload as I did. And I thought, I'm going to hang out and watch and be entertained. And it's really cool. And I was,
Yeah.
So, but I think also in Red Dead Redemption 2, you have to remember that they developed so many more characters.
Oh, big time. It's my favorite thing about it is getting to kind of like, you hear stuff mentioned in the first game, even just like little bits about the Vanderlyn gang and stuff. And you're like any good story, you're like, I'd love to know what that was about. And so then getting to go back and see all the characters and like the change in perspective is interesting because like, and I mean, there's going to be a spoiler warning on this video because I can't talk about this stuff without getting into the nitty gritties of it. So like, so I will have said to people, if you haven't finished Red Dead Redemption 2 in particular, like stop the video, go finish it and come back if you really want to avoid spoilers. But like for me, like the development of John in that game in 2, how it reshapes your view of John in 1 is a crazy experience, because when I replayed it after playing 2, there was a little bit of a change. Like John was just my good guy in Red Dead Redemption 1. I saw nothing. He's my protagonist. I'll follow him wherever he goes. I don't care what he's done. But then meeting John in the second game and learning so much more about him, and also like kind of seeing a parallel between him and Micah to some extent, of like that they both got pulled into this thing. I loved it. I'm sorry. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I think that the way they did John, they did him right. They did him good.
Well, I learned a lot too. And I think you're right. They did it. And this is me giving them credit, not me. I didn't write it. I didn't. But
you performed it. It takes every cog in the machine to get it working right, and you're definitely a big cog in that machine as well.
Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. It's a weird. It's something where, I did the performance capture, and it's my voice and my movement, whatever. But I didn't get the script in its entirety. I didn't know the entire story.
Yeah.
And what I was given, like if we would shoot like 2 weeks on, 3 weeks off, and then it became 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and then however their rotation worked. But I would get, for the weeks that I was on, what we were going to work on that 3 week time period or whatever. So I knew that information, but it wasn't necessarily given to me in order either. All of us. I mean, that's the way it was. And I don't think that it was, I don't think anybody was trying to be confusing. I don't think anybody was trying to make it difficult, but you can't, I guess what I'm saying is I can't take a whole lot of credit. And that was the same for Red Dead Redemption and for Undead Nightmare. I didn't know the whole story. So I can't take a whole lot of credit for, you know what I'm saying?
I do get you, but I think it's one of those things as well where it's very difficult to own what you've done as well. I know that myself. Like, if I go to festivals and people go, "I love your movie," I'm like, "Oh, it wasn't me. It was a whole team of people. There was this person. I think it's very difficult to own what you've done, and I think that I get what you're saying. Like the writers, the animators, everybody plays such a crucial part in these things. The other cast, But I think at the end of the day as well, it takes the right person to rock up on the day and do it as well. Because like, even if you don't know what's coming, you still have to turn up and stick it to the wall, or else, it doesn't matter how good it's written.
Well, man, thank you. I appreciate it. I know I enjoyed every second of it. I really did. And I can't say enough how fortunate I am to have been part of it, really. So, I mean,
oh no, I was just going to ask. Like you were talking there a little bit about the performance capture, which is something that I've been saying to everyone. I'm fascinated by. I think it's the filmmaker in me, just like the idea of a 360 degrees camera filming everything from every angle. Blows my mind. But like, what was the jump from Red Dead Redemption 1 like to 2 for the performance capture side of things?
Well, okay, so a lot, really. So for Red Dead Redemption, the playable character, whether it would be John or Jack. Spoiler alert! You're gonna put that on there.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, we're spoiler cast.
If you're the playable character, you're in every scene. You're in every scene because you have to be, because the technology didn't allow for, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, you go to the camp and there are all kinds of conversations.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
You catch them or you don't. A lot of the stuff that we did in 2 didn't involve the playable character.
Yeah, yeah. Or the playable character is just a camera, basically, to show what's going on around them. It's not a cutscene like in the first game where it's just straight up kind of cutscenes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that was different. I mean, I remember too. Okay, so another thing that was very different was you were able to come and go as you wanted with these cutscene kind of things, right? These conversations, whatever. You could walk up in the middle of a conversation, stay there and listen to it, or you could leave or whatever. And they had to figure out a way for people to acknowledge, like, talking to you and what do you want, Arthur?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that stuff that was thrown in there that didn't exist in Red Dead.
In the first one, yeah.
And so cool. And it's also fascinating. I thought, how could you possibly know if this is brand new? How do you know how it works? I mean, you don't know. So they did do a lot of things. They tried a lot of different things and found out what the threshold was.
Yeah.
And then worked their way through it with those parameters, I guess. But in the first game, like I said, there's a big X glowing, right? So you're walking. When you would get there, you're in a scene, but then you're in it. You can't walk out.
Or if you wanted to, if you'd seen it before, you could skip it. That's it. There's no. You can't, as you see, you're not still in control when you get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
They understand it and make it easy for everyone else to understand, and which is just fascinating.
It is.
No, we don't know what this means, and we can get an idea and think, okay, I guess that makes sense that you can do that. But you're in this room wearing these
funny suits.
You got a camera in your face, so you walk around smacking people with your, but they make you feel. They just made it feel like this is what you do, and this is what you've always done, and you know how to do it. So be comfortable and enjoy yourself and do your thing. If you do too much, we'll tell you to bring it down.
Yeah.
Do it. Go for it. And I think everybody was so empowered by that kind of approach.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it because, and like you said, the camera's everywhere.
Yeah. Because the character can come in from anywhere, so it has to be able to film. Like it is, as you say, it's groundbreaking. Like, because I don't think I played games before Red Dead 2 that did that. That had that, like, as you say, these moments are just happening, which makes it feel more like real life than a game. Because you're like, wait, it didn't even tell me that this was a big deal or that I should pay attention to it. It's just two people talking or just drinking around a campfire or whatever. And being like the person that I am, like a writer and stuff, I would stand there and listen to all of that stuff because I'm like, this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that you have to cut from the movies, like when you're making a movie, and you're like, all that character stuff, all that like getting to know them. That's all the stuff that ends up on the cutting room floor. But here you get to live it. You get to be part of it, which is amazing. A huge credit to all of you guys and Rockstar, obviously.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, whatever credit I can take, thank you for that. But it's so what we thought was so cool too, and we've all kind of talked about this. If each one of us, if you get a group of people and you send each person off to go play this game and give them 2 hours and then come back and say, okay, what happened? Everyone would have a different story to tell.
Absolutely.
They would all be telling the truth, but that's the thing where you just think, wow, Anyway,
but I said that to Steve, that like there hit a point for me where I've been playing it for ages, and then I was like, things were getting really intense, and in the story, I think it was down around the Saint Denis, and I was like, I'm just gonna go off and wander the countryside and fish and just live in the Old West for a while. I'm not gonna go shooting people. I'm just gonna enjoy living in the Old West,
Yeah. Unbelievable, right? And it's so pretty.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So one of the things that is completely unfair, but when we would do these Comic-Cons, the conventions and different things that were going on, so many people would say how much they're not just one person, but the entire family would sit down together and play the game. And the person who was playing probably had the most fun, but everybody else just really enjoyed looking at it, so
I'm going to sound like a terrible parent here. Like, I'm absolutely, and I take total ownership of it. I'm fine with it. Like my daughter, who's now 5, when I was playing Red Dead 2, she would have been 3 or 4, I guess. But I wouldn't let her watch anything too inappropriate in it. But the thing was, she loved Arthur Morgan. She was just obsessed with Arthur Morgan. She just loved the character. And then also she would tell me not to kill animals and stuff. She would be like, don't kill that animal. I was like, okay, I won't. But it's great because she gets to see the Old West as well. And because I'm in control of it, it doesn't have to be... If you watch a Western movie, it's going to be the way the director makes it. It's violent. Whereas with this, it's like I can just show her the West and make it an experience just for her.
Yes. Yes, man. It's so cool. Well, and I said that it's unfair, and I didn't finish.
Sorry.
No, not because of you, because of me. That's what I do. I just say things, and then sometimes I finish them, sometimes I tail off. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I empathize. It's all good.
But I guess what I really wanted to say was that, so, the casts, we're the ones that get to hear all this feedback face to face from fans, which we all really enjoy that so much too, obviously. But the animators and all these people that do so much, they read the articles, and people are enjoying the game, but they don't hear it. That's what's unfair. They need to hear it like we do, and it's really cool. I don't know that anyone making this game, no matter what part of the process you were, what you contributed, I don't think that people probably thought that it would bring families together the way that it did. And give, you had your daughter who was going to follow you anywhere in the world, and still does, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, when you're 10 years from now, she may not have much interest in watching you hang out.
Exactly. Right? I'm seeing that with my 9-year-old.
Yeah, right. So this is something that gave people an opportunity that everyone was interested in. And I'm blown away by that too. I love it. So.
I think, and I mean, I've been saying it to even Steve for a while that I'm so delighted to be getting. I love everybody involved in the process, so I'm so delighted to be getting you and all the other outlaws onto chat, because I think people love to hear it. But I was saying it to Steve that I was like, I'd love to get Rod Edge on as well, because again, from that side of the table, that other perspective, he's another person I'd love to chat to about it, because I imagine it's such a different outlook to being behind the cameras, like it is on any set, really. But nobody has said a bad word. Like, everybody who's spoken about Rod Edge has just said he is the most amazing human.
He really is. I mean, he really is. So one thing that we learned early on, I think we probably all learned it from Rod, but you got to imagine if you get cast on Red Dead Redemption 2, you don't have a whole lot of information of what it is that you're going to work on. Yeah. Because it's all so secretive, right? But you have a whole lot of dialogue to memorize. Know that, like, the people that would come in for 2 or 3 days would have 10 pages, if not more, and really, really heavy dialogue. And so they would come in and think, what is that? they wouldn't know what was going on. They would see a group of 5 or 6 people, depending however many of us they had in of the gang, that really knew each other and were all laughing and giving each other hell and whatever. And people probably thought, I don't know how you guys all know each other. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. But Rod would come in and sit with people that were new and say, listen, I'm Rod, I'm your director, and this is what this is. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be really, really a great experience for you. So enjoy it. And would just get people right in the I'm comfortable zone, you know? And we all kind of, I think, thought, yeah, that's a really good idea. People are unfamiliar. Of course they're nervous. I don't care how many jobs you've done. If you walk into a setting where you've got to put the suit on, go out into a giant room and imagine that things are there that aren't there and whatever, and try and figure out, okay, I guess I can get past the fact that there's a light shining right in my face, whatever. But then we all decided too that it was best to just make everyone feel like they were part of everything that we were, and they were. I mean, everyone contributed. There's no one that worked on this that didn't have as much of an effect as anyone else. So,
but that's cool to hear about Rob, because I think it takes a really good director to make sure that everybody has what they need, and not kind of like I've been on sets myself where you see people kind of, obviously there are certain roles that demand more attention, but everybody should get, as you say, that moment to sit down and say, okay, this is why you're here, this is what we're doing. And just all it takes is, just breaking down that wall and getting the familiarity. So it's cool to hear that he was doing that.
Yes.
He sounds awesome. Like, he sounds like an amazing guy. But as you say, I'm sure it was probably amazing for you guys then as well to see the animations come to life and stuff. Like, be able to go in and have a look, or, you know, when you come back to set or something, and it's like, were you getting shown little bits of footage as you went and stuff, or?
Well, so I'll tell you this. When I worked on Red Dead Redemption, the technology at the beginning of that, and maybe actually all the way through Red Dead Redemption, I can't say for sure, but when they have a big screen in the room where you can see your avatar. It looks exactly like it does in the game. You can see yourself. You walk around on the stage and wave. Waving, so you can see what you look like. And then So in Red Dead Redemption, all you could see were the markers, which are on your joints and wherever they are, where they need to be to make that technology work. But you could see little dots, and you could wave, and you could see your dots waving, and kind of put it together like, okay, that's me. So I never knew what John looked like until the first trailer for Red Dead Redemption came out. I never knew what he looked like.
Whoa.
I never even thought about what he looked like.
Yes.
So that was insane to see what he looked like and be like, my goodness, all right. So that's the guy that I'm playing. And
that's insane.
Then, of course, you know, they had a whole trailer cut together, and I'm hearing my voice come out of this weird, not me person. And I thought, wow. Well, so then now, Red Dead Redemption 2, like I said, you can see your own avatar, and you can see a lot, not fully developed, but a lot of, like, if you're inside a house, you can see like where the walls would be.
Okay.
If you're looking at a screen, if you're on the stage, you only see tape or ribbons or whatever to let you know, don't walk here, because you'd be walking into a wall.
Lots of PVC pipe and foam around the place as well, from what I hear.
Yeah. And you know, and you want it to be real, you know, like, not just seeing characters having a conversation and choosing whether you want to listen to it or interact with it somehow or whatever, but also, you know, there were times where I would be doing something silly and Rob would say, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to be alive. I'm trying to I'm trying to look like I'm doing something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he would say, yeah, don't do that. Whatever it may be. But yeah, it was a overwhelming experience. And it's a weird thing too, because unless someone's actually been there physically,
Yeah.
you can look up performance capture on Google and you can see what the suits look like, and you can see, I don't know if it's the exact same technology, but you wouldn't see Rockstar stuff, I guess. So it's hard to say, like, this is what it is, and just expect people to understand what
it's like you're describing. I suppose it's like you're describing a fantasy world that doesn't exist. Like, as in, you know what I mean? Like, it's about the same level, because, as you say, unless it's like just, I was on the moon. Let me tell you what the fucking moon was like. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because no one else. It's what Buzz Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin probably had to experience when they came back from the moon. Is like, I can tell you what it's like, but it's the moon. You know?
Yeah.
You gotta be there.
Gotta be there. Well, yeah, man. I don't know, but.
So when I started playing Red Dead 2, I was worried at first, right? Because prequels are something that I think are hard to do, like, because there's a safety, because you're like, well, I know this character lives and I know that character survives, and But what I found was Red Dead 2, when I was going into it, I was thinking that I was going, well, I know John survives, and I know Abigail survives, and I know Dutch survives. And so I kind of thought, okay, there's not going to be that many stakes in this game. Like, I'm not going to get invested as much as I did in the other game. And, like, God, was I wrong. Like, they pulled the rug out, like, straight away, and it was like, oh, wait, who's this guy and that guy? And, oh, no, I don't want anything to happen to those people either, But they're not in the other game, so what happened to them?
Right? Where are they?
Yeah.
I know. There are so many things, they say that this is a franchise. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but they've got so many choices to continue on, either during the same time period or
backwards
again, or whatever. I mean, there are so many things now, so many characters that people want to know more about. So many people want to play as these characters, and they should.
Yeah.
And so, who knows?
I mean, one of the best kind of relationships in the game, I think, is like yourself and Ben Davis. Like, obviously, you had 2 games worth of. I know Ben didn't have a huge part in the first game, well, like comparatively to the second game. But again, it sowed those seeds of going, who is this guy and what is their connection? And something that I love about Red Dead 2 as well is that we come into it having played the first game. If you played the first game, as like, John's my boy. I've been through hell with John. Who's this Arthur guy? You know what I mean? Right out the gate, if you come that route. And then you start to, as I say, see another side of John. He's more immature. He's not where he is at the start of Red Dead Redemption 1. And I guess that must have been fun to take a character that you did play and kind of roll it back and just have a bit of fun with him and be a bit, change him up.
Yeah. Well, once I understood what was going on, what was being asked of me, I thought, yeah, I can do that. I was that. So my sister, when I was in high school, when I was a freshman in high school, my sister was a senior in high school. And so I had a lot of friends right away, because everybody, they were like, take care of him. He's cool, whatever. He's her brother. Don't mess with him, I guess.
Yeah.
But I had all these guys that I'd looked up to, and they would come over and hang out, not with me, with my sister and her friend. But I would try so hard to be the cool guy. I'm in high school now too, guys. Come on, I'm cool. And I can remember,
that's amazing.
Me, but they were just like, dude, no. And I thought, it was so frustrating that I could not get the respect that I wanted from them, and you are so cool, that kind of thing. In real life, that's what I wanted. But I get it. Like, John really, really wanted to have that respect that he saw Arthur get, that he saw, and he looked up to Arthur, obviously. So I thought, yeah, I can imagine how this might be.
That's so cool. I love that like drawing of real life influence. Like, I mean, the funny thing is that I felt like, I don't know, I could have a totally wrong reading of this, but like I felt like at the start of the game, I wasn't sure of how close Arthur and John were. I was like, are they kind of rivals? Are they kind of vying for Dutch's affection? And they're kind of like, you know, who's his right-hand man? Is there kind of a bit of a competitiveness between them? But I felt like as the story went on, it became very clear, you know, that these were like brothers. They were brothers, and brothers are competitive, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really kind of what it was, wasn't it? But there also could be more to it, too. You know what I mean? There could be so much more that we don't know. There's a lot unanswered still.
Yeah.
You know? So, we'll see what they do, but if they do anything at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so many people. I've heard that too. That said, "Who is this guy? Who is this?" Like you were saying
with Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man, I would say there are more people that have played, and I shouldn't say this because I don't know, but I think there are probably more people that have played Red Dead Redemption 2 than have played Red Dead Redemption.
Probably, yeah. Like, I mean, genuinely, just because it was one was obviously massive, but I think 2 just, it was what you call a cultural phenomenon. It just exploded, like decimated the video game awards, took everything. Like, it was, you know, I don't think it had really been seen to that level. Maybe GTA is maybe the only other game, like another Rockstar game that did that, you know?
I'll tell you a cool story about video game awards. So Roger was nominated for character. I can't even remember the name of the nomination, what the title of it was, whatever. It was the performance of the year, best performance of a video game character of the year, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he won. And rightfully so, obviously. I'm not
he's
saying
fantastic.
I'm surprised that he won. I'm saying it was so exciting. We got to go, and there were 6 or 7 of us that got to go. It'd be part of this experience with Roger, and we got to walk in through a back door and go through like I don't even know what you call it. It's just so crazy that
is it like a big red carpet premiere type thing, or like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're taking pictures from magazines, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here?
That's exactly what I'd be like. I'd have the exact same reaction.
Oh my goodness, man! It was so cool, and there were thousands of people in the stands for this huge video game awards. Roger won. And then he had to go up on stage and give a speech. And I thought, oh man, I'm so nervous for you right now. He did it like he had done it 1,000 times before. It was so awesome.
That's amazing.
That whole experience. Yeah, you know, and of course, the Rockstars won several awards. And they say, and I believe this, and I think that it's believable, every video game that they do, they want to make that best video game that has ever been made.
I believe it big time. Because like Rockstar, it's like there are certain companies, right? There's only a very small handful of video game companies I can think of where the actual company is like a seal of approval. Like when you see the name of the company, you know the quality straight away. You know what I mean? And Rockstar will be right up there on that list. You know, Nintendo are probably another one, you know, but there's so few. Like, there's so few. But yeah, like, but I mean, to go back to when you first got the job as John Marston way back when, like, did you even, just out of curiosity, were you a gamer? Did you know who Rockstar were? Did you have any inclination? Or was this, like, as they say, just a shock of the century?
If I tell you I had no business being there, that is as honest as I could possibly be. And I'm not a gamer, and I hate to say that. I think that's disappointing for people.
No, I don't think so.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know if I should apologize for that or not.
I think people don't expect people to create stuff to especially games, because games are something that, like, they're such a time sink. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I haven't played the video games that I haven't played all of. I played part of Red Dead Redemption. I played part of Undead Nightmare. I played Red Dead Redemption 2 up until the first gun battle. I got shot. I got killed. I got pissed off. And I turned it off. And I said, I'm going to do it another time. I can't. Because I don't know how. I'm not going to be bad at this. I'm not going to be bad at this game. But I am. So I got mad and said, I'll do it another time. I haven't gone back to it.
What age are your kids? Because you could just wait for them to get old enough and just pass the controller and be like, get past that part for me.
When they're old enough to be shooting people and doing whatever, then we'll have a great time. But that's the thing too. It's such a time commitment.
It is.
And for me, to be able to be part of the work and know what that looked like.
Exactly.
And then to see it and see how it all actually, how it works.
Yeah.
As a player of a video game is mind blowing too. So, I will one day play through every bit of it, and I'm sure that I'll really enjoy it. I don't have time right now.
Exactly. But I also think that it's like anything, right? Like, I mean, it's like anything that you're part of in a creative way like that, right? When we make a movie, I've sat in the edit booth for hundreds of hours, and when I go to the premiere, I'm like, I don't even want to watch this. I'm so sick of looking at it. I've seen it so many times. So like, I think there's an element as well of like, but then 5 years out or 10 years out, there's that time where you're like, I might go back and watch that and see, and as you say, there'll always be a time. I mean, some actors never watch the films they were in. Like Richard Harris, who's from my hometown, like he literally would never watch any movies he was in. He was like, why would I watch something I was in? I'll just go watch other movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird. It's just weird, And so John people would not recognize me walking down the street and say, that's John Marston. They might hear my voice.
If you cut the lines into the... If you cut your line...
But we don't look enough alike for me to say, that's me, and I can tell because I'm looking at him, and that's what I look like. That's not the way I see the footage of John Marston. I can hear the sound, whatever. But so think about this when you, and you may be more comfortable with this because of your experience with all of the art you create, is that when you hear your own voice, like say for most people, they do their outgoing voicemail message, right? Where they say, hi, this is so-and-so, leave a message, I'll call you back, whatever. And then you listen to it back and you think, oh, I don't sound like that, do I? Do I sound like that all the time? And so there's that. You hear your own voice and you think, oh, God. And then also because of the performance capture, the first time I played Red Dead Redemption and I took off running, I said out loud to my wife, why did they make him run like that? And then I realized, I made him run like that.
That's amazing. But like, it's so true.
It's awful. It's a lot. It's just a lot, So I know that nobody else experiences that unless you're a playable character in a video.
But I think the phone message one is so relatable because even with doing this channel, right? I record all the stuff. I do my videos. I don't watch them back. Like generally, like I might watch the interviews back. That might be the only one. But like, I'd be like at my nephew's house. Now my nephew is like 16 years of age, and he'll sometimes put on one of my videos in the background, and as soon as I'm sitting at the table, I'm talking to my sister, I'm having a drink or whatever, coffee, and I hear my own voice, I'm like, oh, turn that off, like straight away.
I think it's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
I just think it's the way it is, so
it's your brain, like you can't help it because you sound different in your head than you think you sound different, of course.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. So here, this is funny too. there were times where, okay, so you get to a certain point in production where you do actually go stand in a sound booth and you do a lot of work in there, days and days and days of all kinds of different dialogue, whether it be like if you're on horseback and you're traveling from one place to another with a group of people, those conversations, we did a lot of those in a sound booth because you don't need performance capture. You wouldn't have a bunch of guys sitting there pretending they're on horses and talking, you know?
Yeah.
So you do some of that stuff in a sound booth, and of course you do all the grunts
and groans,
all the wild noises and whatever. But there were times where we would record something and they would play it back, and I would hear it and I would say, no, you know what? Can I try that again? I think I can do that way better. And they'd say, yeah, if you want, go ahead. And this only happened a couple times because I realized this is dumb. I just either it sounds decent or I hate it. So they would let me record it again, and I would record it, and I would think, okay, that sounds better. And then they would play it out loud again, and it would sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't. I just don't like the way I say that, I guess. Whatever. But that's the only way I know how to do it, I think. I can't change it.
Yeah.
So.
And so you just gotta start living with it. You just gotta start saying, yeah, fine, cool, roll with the punches, next line.
Yeah. Well, then, you just, if they say, no, it's good.
There's a lot of trust involved. Like, yeah, big time. Yeah. Trusting that they're going to tell you if it's not right. It's same, like much smaller scale, but it's on a film set. It's the same thing that like actors are going to be like, could I do one more? I really think I could do it better. And you have to get them to a point of where they go, oh wait, like if they say they're happy to move on to the next setup and they're happy to move on to the next shot, we must have got it right because they wouldn't be, if we didn't. It's hard, like it's so hard to get to that point.
I can only imagine. I mean, the work that you do, and you write a lot too, don't you?
Yeah, not so much during all this pandemic stuff, which is mad because you think this would be the perfect time to sink your teeth into like some writing, but it's just it's weird. It's had the opposite effect on me of like it's pushed me away. I suppose it's because there's so much going on in a lot of ways mentally that it's hard to create space for ideas.
Yeah.
But I do love writing. Yeah, like I love writing.
Well, I've thought, if I can't book a movie, I'm going to write one. I'm going to write one, and I'm going to star in. I think everybody that lives in LA at one point becomes a writer for that reason.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd be a writer, and I started off, and I enjoyed writing so much. It was like picking up a book, that you couldn't put down. But it was you're creating this thing, and I got into it, really, really enjoyed it for like 4 days. Then I realized everything that I'm writing about, my immediate family and my friends would understand these inside jokes or understand this and that and whatever, and not another person in the world would. So I can say that I have a huge respect for someone who can do it and do it well. And I'm sure that it's really a lot of work, but it's got to be really enjoyable too. I'm sure.
It definitely, like, I mean, my first feature film was exactly what you've just said. It was me and my mates, and it was just like, it's set in Limerick, Ireland, which is where we're all kind of based, and it's all Limerick jokes, Limerick humor, Limerick slang. Again, I've showed it in the States, and people have laughed because it's funny physically and stuff. It's meant to be, but like they've been like, I didn't understand a word of what anybody was saying. But yeah, I do love, like, at the moment, after all this stuff is over and done with, I actually wrote. It's interesting. I get to tell you this. It's fun. When I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, it reminded me of how much I love westerns. Like, I grew up with my dad watching westerns. Like, that was what he didn't like horror movies. I'm a big horror movie fan. He didn't like horror movies, so we wouldn't watch those. He liked the odd comedy, one or two, but he loved westerns. So like we would watch all the Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, and when I was playing Red Dead 2, I was like, I love westerns. I should write a western. So I started writing a Western set in the States, but then I went, wait, I don't know the States. Like, I'm not from the US. I don't know the history. I don't know. I was like, but I know Ireland. I know our history. I know our... So I went, I'm going to write an Irish Western, like set in 1920s Ireland out in the Western... And that's what I'm working on now. And I like, it's in the back, in the background. But it's been a lot of fun. And if I hadn't played Red Dead Redemption 2 when I did, I don't think I would have had that spark, and I think that's the great thing about art is it can be a spark for anyone,
Yeah, man. Well, I hope that you finish it. I don't know,
me too.
No pressure, whatever. But no, I think it's really great, and I hope that you're enjoying it. And right when you said there's so much going on, it's really hard to kind of think about anything at all, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of hard to.
I mean, how have you been fixed actually through all this? Like, that is something that's worth talking about as well, I guess, is like, because I mean, it hasn't been an easy time for so many people. I totally understand that. Me, Steve talked a bit about it as well. But,
yeah. And
it's part of why the channel got called Let's Survive Together, is because, like, that's all we can do right now,
Yeah, man. It's, I think that it's kind of a difficult thing to talk about because for some people, for everyone, it's an inconvenience to say the very least. But for some people, it's the most devastating thing. They've lost family members, they've lost loved ones. It's been a real tragedy for a lot of people. So I don't want to say anything to downplay it in any way, just out of respect for that.
Yeah.
But it's nobody's experienced this. Nobody knows how to deal with it. Nobody knows how to talk about it correctly.
I was gonna say there's no right way to segue from this, but like, I guess one of the things that I kind of just wanted to jump back to about the game quickly and yourself is like the rapport that you have in the game with Ben Davis in particular, like that you, Dutch and John have, I think is one of the game's like finest, and Arthur. I think that little triangle in a lot of ways is super important. But like, how are you and Ben that like super close in reality? Are you like, is he your Dutch? Does he always have a plan?
Ben and I met each other. We've known each other for 20 years, probably.
Oh, wow.
Maybe longer. It's insane. This is really insane. So Ben lived in New York. I never lived in New York. I lived in LA and I worked at this bar. It was called the Sky Bar. And I'm sure it's still there. I'm guessing it's still there. It was a real popular place and real nice. And so I was a bar back. And I thought, I don't care, because it was always jam-packed with people and I was making really good money.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was make sure there were beers in the fridge and fruit was cut and whatever, And Ben was a door host. He was the guy that let people in or said, I'm sorry, not tonight, whatever, however that goes, whatever.
Yeah.
But so we worked together at the same bar. And then 5 years later or whatever it was, I had left that job. I got a bartending job at a different bar and was, I guess, making more money. So I left that job and Ben stayed at Sky Bar for however long. But we were both working the same day on Red Dead Redemption. And he looks at me and he goes, hey. I said, oh, hey, man, how are you? He goes, what the hell are you doing here? And I said, I'm a character on this game. What are you too? And he's like, yeah, man, right on. And
that's amazing.
So we're getting changed and we're talking and whatever. And he said, so what character are you? I don't even know. I got some John guy. And I said, I'm John. Right on.
Yeah.
I think I'm the guy. I think I'm the playable guy. He was like, what? Because, I mean, imagine, you're friends with someone and then you get on this job and you just are, like the chances of that, happening, the odds of that are so slim. And then, so all that was great. But yeah, so then from that point on, of course, we've been connected in this other really awesome way.
Yeah.
And Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm trying to think, was that 8 years ago we started production on that?
Oh,
Or
wow.
7?
I think from the other interviews, people said 2013. I think
Okay.
So 7 years ago, you're probably spot on.
Yeah. So once that kicked off, we became even closer than we ever were before. And Ben, my goodness, what a really great guy. Now, John and Dutch, they got love for each other, but they also
They
Ben
got
is from
beef.
Boston. Yeah. Ben is from Boston. I'm from Indiana. And there's a big rival, not anymore.
Yeah.
Boston, and it's all different now because Tom Brady, their quarterback, doesn't play there anymore, and Gronkowski and all this.
Yeah.
But for years, I would watch the Patriots beat the Colts with Ben, and I wanted to kill him. He's such a good shit talker. He's so intelligent, He's got such a great vocabulary. He's so well spoken, even when he's talking shit. It's like,
so he's literally Dutch. He's literally Dutch.
Yes. So yeah, Ben and I have a love-hate, not a hate. We have a love, brotherly love kind of thing too, I guess.
That sounds like most Irish people though. Like that's what we're like as a race, I guess. Is like we, if you're friends with someone, you absolutely rip the piss out of them and like make fun of them, and like that's how you know you're friends. If you're not doing that, you're like, I don't think he likes me. He's not making fun of me, so I don't think we're friends. That's just our way, and so I love and I do think that in playing like the second game, I think I learned a lot more about seeing John and Dutch, and I think the hardest thing for me, again, there was a big spoiler warning on this episode, but like the thing that I found hardest was start of that game, I idolized Dutch. I was like, I love this dude. He's awesome. He's so intelligent. He's got it all figured out. We're good. And as the cracks began to show and like you realized he didn't know anything and he was just winging it. And it's that moment where like the person you look up to, it's when you realize your dad's not Superman and like can't do everything. It was like, and I think you see John and Arthur realize that as well, and it's heartbreaking because you're like, they're like sons to him, or brothers more so, but like it was hard to watch like this amazing character and then see him in the first game. He's so different in that he's lost everything, but yeah, those dynamics, like, amazing.
Yeah, well, you're right though too. I just wonder, and again, that so many unanswered questions, but how? And Hosea had a lot to do with it too. It wasn't just Dutch, but to have that kind of hierarchy or whatever. But the trust that everyone had in Dutch, and the motivation to say, yes, let's go. You do know what you're talking about. Let's do, like, what did he do before to get him that point where they really, there was a plan and it worked. Was there something leading up to that and we just saw it all fall apart? I don't know.
I think for me, there's a part where you come across a picture of Dutch when he was young, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'd love a game where you play as a young Dutch, like starting out the gang, like meeting them all, like that's where my mind goes, like straight away, is like, oh, being Dutch as a playable character, that's where my brain goes for like the next potential one. But as you say, nobody knows. No one knows what's going to happen next. As what it should be, because life is about surprises.
Yeah, right? I mean, exactly. It's exciting for all of us. Literally, none of us know. I don't know that they know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't know. So, but like, yeah, a lot of fun things to think about. And I guess, I still have a whole series of Red Dead Redemption to play. I've not played any of it. I get to experience all of it.
Which is, again, I'm almost jealous. Like, I almost wish I had that thing where I could erase my mind and just go back and play it all again from the start with no memory of it. At least you can play them in order. You can play, well, like in the order they should be. You can play 2 first, and then Red Dead, and then Undead Nightmare. You see your sort.
I'm gonna like playing as Arthur way more than I will playing as John. I promise you that. I promise you that. To all of you who feel that way, I absolutely agree.
Oh man, I mean, to kind of start kind of closing this out, like, is there any, like, I'm always fascinated about this with characters and actors, and it's funny because just like with you, it's interesting because, you know, when Steve Palmer talks, he's not Bill Williamson, but like you're John Marston. Like, as soon as you talk, like, I love that, by the way. That's me complimenting. I love that you, in so many ways, embody your character. Do you feel that there's a lot of John in you, or that, like, I mean, you kind of, I suppose you did touch on this earlier, but like, yeah, like, how do you feel you overlap with John?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'll tell you this. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for saying that. And I also want to say, before I answer your question, I'm so fortunate that I don't have to pretend that I've got a different accent or something like that. I've never been able to do it. I don't know how people can do it. It's a real talent to do that consistently, and not just for a line that you're comfortable saying, for everything, whether you're yelling or whispering or whatever, to do that. It's fascinating. I'm really impressed by it.
Agreed.
But so as far as overlapping, I think that there are things that I feel like overlap, but I think they're the same things everyone else that plays the game feels. I think that we all kind of go through life, right, where you don't know who you are or what you want until you experience and gain wisdom or experience, knowledge, you know. And I think that's why it's so easy for people to enjoy playing a character like that, because it's them. It's everyone. Yeah. You are playing as this guy, and you don't know. I guess for me, like, I thought, I'll move to LA. I'll be an actor. Why not? I got nothing else I really want to do, so I'll try it out, see what happens. I didn't have a wife or kids or any responsibility. I did a lot of really fun, cool things that I can be proud of. I did a lot of really stupid, dumb things where I think I'm so embarrassed, and I really hope that nobody has any footage of that. Like anyone else, you know? Oh yeah. And I think there was, I've said this before, so I don't mean to repeat myself, but I haven't said it to you, but there was a time where I was really kind of depressed when I lived in LA, and I had a really great job as a bartender. I was making money. I would book the commercial here and there, whatever, to make me feel like, you're still a working actor. You're booking stuff, whatever. So it wasn't that I had like a lack of really anything. I had good friends. I had a social life. I was happy, but I also was realizing I don't have a sense of purpose. Yeah. I've got everything that I need, except I don't want any of it. It doesn't do anything for me. So once I found my wife, and once we decided that we wanted to have a family, ever since then, that is without a doubt what I want. That's what I want to be good. I want everything to be happy and to be as cool as possible for everyone, the whole experience. So, but I think everyone kind of is that way, you know what I mean? Until you find, it may not be a family, it may be whatever it is. Yeah. Until that sense of purpose comes along, you kind of are like a John Marston, right?
100%. Like,
I don't know, not to say that everyone's John Marston.
No, but I do, like, I think you've really hit the nail on the head with it, though, that, like, people do, like, as you say, I've gone through that. I think 90% of people have. You know, you've had your young, immature years. I was in bands, and I was, you know, like, I wanted to be a musician, and then I wanted to be a game developer, and then as you say, it's that, like, when you realize that whatever, as you said, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a family, but when you realize this is what I'm this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do, and I'll do anything for this. That's the change. Like, and I think that, as you say, that's John. That is, because you see that with him, with Abigail, with Jack, like that everything he does in the first game, he's doing so that they can have that, a life. And actually, that kind of leads me to what this can be our final question, I suppose, or like final bit. But how did you react when you got to that day and they were like on the first game and they were like, so this is the scene where Edgar Ross and such show up at the ranch, and like, I mean, again, as you say, you didn't know necessarily what was coming. How did that feel to get told this is where John gets gunned down? Like,
okay, so the truth about that, and this is mind blowing too. And for me and this is the truth though, I thought, because I'm not a gamer, I don't have a whole lot of experience with this kind of storytelling, I don't know how it works, but I thought, wow, these guys, when they kill him, they must like kill him really good, because he's gonna actually die. I thought he'll respawn.
That's amazing.
I didn't know the story. I think it's too early. I didn't know the story. I only knew what I knew, and it didn't have anything to do with that. So I thought, right, yeah, all right. So really, like, and before, like, the thing about playing a playable character is you get to do everything up until the action starts. I never got to, like,
actually,
be like, you do that as the person playing the game. So I knew that John would die and get hurt and whatever, but I never had to act any of that stuff out. That was all just done by, So this time when he died, he must get like really lit up, because he actually dies for a while, I think.
That's amazing. It might stick this time. It might stick.
Yeah. So, and then, the more because we didn't do all that in the same shoot.
Yeah.
Thing, but the more we got on with it, the more I realized, oh, wow. Yeah, and then I thought that kind of is a bummer, whatever. But I had no idea there was going to be a DLC.
Yeah.
And I would get to do more work with these great people. And then at that point, I thought that's it.
Yeah.
And then they did a prequel, and I thought, this is insane. This is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
It's unfair for me to enjoy this much again.
And was it a bit of a relief for you? I guess it was. I think we kind of talked about this, to find out that, like, that Roger was going to be the lead, that like you didn't have that pressure on your shoulders again of like being the main character. Like,
I think it's yes, to answer your question, yes, but at the same time, I know that I probably use these words too, but I think relief maybe isn't the right word, and pressure is probably not the right word.
Okay.
Either. And I only say that because it's work that I enjoyed, like I said before.
Yeah.
So it was, I knew that I would have to memorize far less.
Yeah.
And I actually got to sit down and watch other people work, and I wasn't part of the scene. So it was like a whole different thing, but it was, I don't think, I guess I can't ever say that I felt pressured. I mean, there was a lot of work that was really had to think about, okay, this, then this, and then this, and then like anybody working on any kind of, so, but yeah, I guess it was definitely really cool to know that I was going to get to watch somebody else experience that. And I'm telling you, like I said before, the very beginning from what I saw, I just thought, this guy acts like he's done this his whole life. He's just so comfortable.
It's amazing, as I say, like that, for a series to have kind of like it's very hard, especially in video games, right? video games are the worst for this because, as I say, you've got Sonic the Hedgehog and you've got Lara Croft and you've got Master Chief and all these characters, and they're always the heroes in each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 20. It's very hard in video games to go from one game to the next with a different character, because straight away it's like, what if people don't like the new character? They want the old one, you know? And I do think you go into video games with, as I say, when I went into Red Dead 2, there was that like, who are you? You're not John. What do you think you're doing? Like, you know, and they, you know, and like there's that fear, right? Well, it shouldn't have been a fear, but right at the start, it's like, oh, John's missing. We don't know where he is. I was like, what the fuck do you mean John's missing? No, get John back here right now, you know. And then it's like, it's amazing because it teaches you to give a crap about somebody else as well. You know what I mean? To realize that this is not one hero's journey. This is not one character that all these characters are as interesting and as important as each other. You know? Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you just didn't know. You didn't know. Yeah. How would you have known?
Yeah.
Now you know.
Which is why I find it hard killing Bill now. Every time I go back to Red Dead 1, I feel bad killing Bill. Also because I know Steve and he's so sound, I'm like, oh.
I know. Oh my goodness, man. Well, yeah. You know what, too? Now, you'll say that about Bill and Steve. Micah.
Oh, I love killing Micah.
I mean, yeah, everybody does.
I know you technically don't, but yeah, like, because it's isn't it Dutch? Yeah. But
so, Peter Blomquist, though, if you want to talk to somebody after me and do whatever you want to do, but you will be fascinated with him. One, the greatest guy.
It's amazing.
and you would do anything for the guy because of who he is. But then he plays this character that everyone hates so much. That is a true talent as well.
Oh, definitely. Like, there's that guy that there's a kid in Dublin. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but when Game of Thrones started, this young guy, Jack, Jack from Dublin,
yes.
He was playing that character, Joffrey, and he had to give up acting at like 18 years of age because he was walking down the street and people were spitting at him and shouting at him because they couldn't distinguish that, like, he's that good of an actor that they couldn't believe that he was actually a nice, normal 18-year-old in reality.
Yes.
But he's gone back. Luckily, he started a stage school and he's teaching acting, and so it's great to see that he's like, life has not been ruined by it. But it just shows how good of a talent he was that people hated him that much.
Hated him.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, damn. I guess in a way he's got to say, well, thank you.
Yeah.
But also, knock it off, man. It's not me.
Yeah, like as you say, I think a lot of good actors love playing the villain because it's such a fun. You get to release everything you don't get to do in your actual day to day. If you are a decent, nice person, you don't get to be horrible. In my first feature, the actor who was playing, there was a character called Uncle Harry, and the person who was meant to play him kept not coming to set, and so I eventually got tired of this third, fourth time, and I said, you know what, screw it, I'll hop in and play the part. And that role is like a real sleazy slime ball. Like, he's horrible, he's everything I would never want to be. He sells people out like for nothing, and I had so much fun doing it, so much fun. And at screenings, we had a screening in Canada, and one of my friends, who's a Canadian director, came up and said, I want to punch you in the face so bad right now. And I went, thank you very much.
I love it. I'm glad you got to do that. I'm glad that you got to do it.
I'll send you a link to that first movie, actually, and with subtitles. You'll need subtitles for it. It's like a foreign language.
Yes. Well, yes, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely want. I've seen your IMDb page. You have definitely done a lot of work, man, and I really want to know more about it.
So awesome. Definitely. Well, and likewise, like, guys, are you active on the social media platforms or anything, or like if people want to follow you, keep up with what you're doing, is there anywhere they can do that?
Yeah. Okay. So I have I have an Instagram account, and it's Rob_Wiethoff.
Perfect. I'll put a link in the description below as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then I have a Twitter account as well. I don't understand Twitter. I don't care to understand Twitter. I might say something every now and then, but I don't.
So Instagram is the place to follow you, though.
Yeah, and be warned, I'm an idiot, and I'm an idiot on purpose, but I'm also kind of an idiot anyway. But yeah, don't expect anything groundbreaking probably on Instagram. You'll get stuff. Whatever.
We live in an age where people just want stuff. Right now, people just need stuff. They don't need anything.
Yeah, man.
But Rob, this has been a delight. Like, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. It's been a pleasure. I want to say that, like, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or anything when I say this, like, but like, genuinely, like, the character you portrayed, and as you say, it's a combination of so many people who met it, but like, you still, as I say, turned up and delivered on that character. And that character has been one of the most important characters I've been playing video games for 33 years. And that character is one that, like, as I say, is on my Hall of Fame. Like, I love John Marston. And by virtue of that, I love you.
Man, I thank you so much for saying. I'm so glad you've enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. I have enjoyed every second of being attached to John Marston in every way. And I'm really glad that you've enjoyed the character in the series so much, and I really appreciate your interest in having me on your show, man. I really do. I've really enjoyed talking with you too, and I definitely want to see some more of your stuff. I would love to have a link to your movie. I want to see it for sure.
Definitely. We'll make sure that happens. And like, beyond that, as I say, I just spoke there mainly about like your character, but I want to say from chatting to you for the last hour and a half that like, you're obviously an incredibly warm, nice person, which is in every bit as important. You know what I mean? Like,
well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's, as far as we know, you only live once, right?
Exactly.
So try to enjoy it. Try to be a person that you can look back on and think, yeah, that guy's decent. He's not a jerk.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Thank you for saying that. And I really enjoyed, like I said, talking with you too, man. You're a good dude.
Thank you so much. And so basically, guys, thank you so much for checking out this interview. Huge thanks again to Rob. As per always, if you guys liked what you saw here, which I really hope you did, you can hit the subscribe button down below. It's somewhere around here. I can never remember exactly where, so I'll just do this until it's where I need it to be. See, I'm silly and an idiot too, don't worry.
You're not the only one.
And guys, hit that button, stick around. We got so many more cool interviews and everything coming in. More Outlaws are on the way as well. And I just want to, as I say, massive thank you. And as I say at the end of every episode, and I mean it now more than ever, let's survive together and peace out. And Rob, see you on the plains.